To be seasonally appropriate, I too will force my poems to be Christmas themed. This first one is about neoliberalism, and it's, I don't know how many of you heard of Inu Ellen's rap party. So he does this rap party, and you have to write a poem essentially like to a certain theme. So the theme when I did it was just hip hop and the future. So I wrote about neoliberalism. So bacon, banknotes, Benjamins, cheddar, cheese, dead presidents, Betty, Franklins, G's and Greens, Lincolns, Moolah, pesos, peas. It's all about the mama, less about the shimmy, shimmy, ya, shimmy, yay. Like Jay-Z says, he's not a businessman, he's a businessman. And to let him handle his business, damn. But isn't being a business not too far from being a product? And isn't being a product on the road to being sold? And isn't that exactly what they rapped about before hitting platinum and gold? Because it seems to me that from fighting the power, we've gone to climbing that tower. And freedom's been appropriated as buying branded attire. Freedom of the people rebranded as a market is Pinochet again, but in lyrical format. Because the corporate capturing of a critical subculture, then selling it back to people of colour, as Apple, Samsung, Nike and Chrysler, is not so different to the conquest of our lands. Private exploitation of resources from our hands, raw materials taken then sold back to us for profit, just as messages of subversion have been rebranded for the market. But I guess it's easier to celebrate the mass consumption of hip-hop than to ask who's generating the wealth and is actually on top and making the bacon, banknotes, Benjamins, cheddar, cheese, dead presidents, Betty, Franklins, G's and Greens, Lincolns, Moolah, pesos, peas. Formerly freedom fermented in street parties, a way to gain power as a disenfranchised culture. But now it seems power gaining is the culture. No more emphasis on free thinking for liberation, the critiques are only woke enough to pass for entertainment. Not woke enough that they're consequential. Not like Zulu Nation's revolutionary potential. Now, freedom is framed firstly as financial fixation, the freedom to consume, not socio-political emancipation. So the outcome is still the same for the majority. Most people of colour still face intergenerational poverty, and to avert the problem, we're told, keep up the grind so you can wine and dine, capitalism's apparent silver lining. But grinding is just rap language to pull yourselves up by your bootstraps, ignoring that our boots are being worn on others' feet. And very few are still rapping about that feat and that cheat that means to say people are incarcerated, there's a social housing crisis and surveillance state, the ghettos are still ghettos, the consumers are still marginalized. The only thing that's changed is that the genre has been gentrified for the sake of the bacon, banknotes, Benjamins, cheddar, cheese, dead presidents, Betty, Franklins, G's and Greens, Lincolns, Moolah, pesos, peas. Now, my outline of the co-option of hip-hop by capitalism is not just condemnation, but a speculation about the co-option of our other messages. T-shirts about being a feminist, made by women in sweatshop factories. Anti-capitalist as an aesthetic vibe. Liberals buying clothes for double their price. Anti-racist, so, let me get the next one. Well, around the swing of it there. Anti-capitalist is an aesthetic vibe, liberals buying clothes for double their price. Ally is a hashtag used by allies who moved out of our neighborhoods. And Californian avocado-eating vegans wasting water on avocado growth. The techniques of resistance have never been so mortal. From the decentralized screams of the dispossessed to modern-day accumulation by dispossession. Soon enough, Kanye will rap about decolonizing the university. Snoop will ask you to queer your cookbook. Jay-Z subvert your wardrobe, and Drake your bed. Because there's nothing more alarming than poor people of colour claiming power, but nothing so easily disarming as misdirecting us towards only the bacon, banknotes, Benjamins, cheddar, cheese, dead presidents, Betty, Franklins, G's and Greens, Lincolns, Moolah, pesos, peas. Thank you. This is my collection, post-colonial banter. I'm not taking questions at this time. And, the next poem that I'm going to do for you is, it was part of a performance piece that I did in April, and I was thinking a lot about Suhaiymah Begum at that time. So this poem is called A Prayer for Those Who Jeer at the Death of a Baby Whose Teenage Mother You Feel Did Not Show Enough Remorse. May you never feel the weight of what makes you human stripped from your bones. May you never know malnutrition or untimely death. May you always be warm. May you never see enough war that a bodiless head does not disturb you. May you never be alone and vulnerable. May your children never be preyed on. May they never live in a place that tries to vomit them out. May they never lose hope. May safety cloak your shoulders when you stand to pray. May you pray. May you never know the heavy feeling of soil packed between your limbs whilst you're still alive. May you never be a test for the oppressors. May you never be unloved. May people never feel satisfied that the treatment you get is the treatment you deserve. May they give you a name when you die. May they remember you as human. May your death be mourned in fullness and not just a symbol in a bigger debate. May you feel joy like the denseness of the night. May it drown you like the Mediterranean Sea. May it hit you in waves when you least expect it, crash through your door like bulldozers, occupy your home, smatter through your windows, spray you like bullets with your name on them. May you make a home on it. May you choke on it, breathe it, live it, die it, and may no one ever think they have a right to remove you from it. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do this one because I've got some time. I never get enough time that I feel is like justifies doing this poem, but I'm gonna do it today. It's called A Recipe for a War on Terror. This is obviously a long recipe, isn't it? Okay. A Recipe for a War on Terror. Note, whilst there are many steps to this recipe, you really need only one ingredient: terror. The problem is that this ingredient cannot be found naturally, so you will have to make it first to go to war with it. Step 1. Equip, fund, and train men who simultaneously vilify scapegoats and other and have for centuries. Use them to fight proxy wars for you, but keep this step of the recipe as quiet as possible. These will be your future terrorists. Leave to simmer. Step 2. While step 1 prepares itself, build up some other reasons for war. Not real reasons, don't give away your priorities, of course, just covers. An example you might use is suggesting your involvement is intervention, necessary to bring about peace and stop violations of human rights and territorial integrity. Violations you turn a blind eye to when they aid your geopolitical goals, but hopefully no one will question this logic. Step 3. Now that you've created belief in backwards, violent, foreign others that you must go to war with in order to save them themselves, it's time to go in. Use words like freedom and liberty to make the blow seem less hard. Hopefully, the men you trained and set aside in step 1 will now become appalled by your foreign policy and violent hypocrisy and will respond with violence of their own. Step 4. Jump on this violence. If and when it happens, go full throttle. Make sure you use every means possible to call and determine that their violence is terrorism. Make sure you use every means possible to call and determine that your own violence is not terrorism. This is central to make the oxymoron war on terror ignorable. Some ways you might distance your violence from terrorism include 1. Trying to line that women abroad are oppressed by foreign men and that bombs and war are the only way to liberate them. Hopefully no one will question this logic. 2. You might suggest that foreign lands suffer from a lack of freedom and democracy and that only bombs and war can bring about due civic process. Perhaps even name your invasion, and this is the official name of the invasion of Afghanistan, Operation Enduring Freedom. Hopefully no one will question this logic. Step 5. Now that you are at war abroad, there may be some opposition at home. It's important to dehumanize those you are at war with enough that people at home stop caring whilst you extend the war front. A quick way to dehumanize those you are at war with is to suggest they are utterly and completely different from you and that they are threats to you. An example you might use is suggesting that foreign countries are hiding weapons and men who want to harm your country. This creation of mass panic and terror is essential to justify your own war on terror. Hopefully no one will question this logic. Note, this step will have negative consequences for those who look like the ones you are at war with in your own country, but don't worry, whilst this may seem a negative side effect, it will in fact be quite useful in the long term. For example, step 6. If opposition at home really starts brewing, it will only worsen things to respond with explicit coercion. Instead, bring in authoritarian measures through a more subtle route, by actually reinforcing the idea that those who look like the ones you're at war with in your own country are potential threats. Based on the dehumanization you've been involved in since step 1 and the illegitimate reasons for war since step 2, It is in fact possible that some of those who look like the ones you are at war with in your own country might respond to violence with violence. If and when they do again, jump on it. Introduce mass surveillance, secret courts, swifter deportation measures, border stops and increased policing. Bring these things in through the guise of safeguarding, preventing terrorism. Suggest that voicing opinions against the war may be a sign of radicalization. This will help deflect the original grievances against World War II. Double whammy. Step 7, don't go too far though. Make sure it doesn't seem like you actually want and need to other those who look like the ones you're at war with in your own country. Say aloud, Islam is a religion of peace. You don't think all Muslims are terrorists, only a minority. That phrasing is key. Really hammer it home. It still allows you to make all Muslims scapegoats and suspects, since how else would you find out which are part of the minority? Step 8, not crucial but helpful. Whilst you dehumanize scapegoat violence and deflect dissent, you can also gain more support at home and tighten control of society by deflecting any other grievances onto these foreign others too. Some examples you might use include 1. Suggesting the foreign others all hate women. This will help cover up the violent misogyny of your own society. Hopefully no one will question this logic. 2, suggest foreign others are all inherently homophobic. This will help cover up your murderous treatment of queer people at home. Note, to prevent any potential questioning of this, make a show of equal marriage and a woman prime minister, but keep killing poor non-white immigrant women and queers. Hopefully no one will question this logic. Step 9. Whilst your war has been bubbling away, there may have been some problems in the background, but don't worry. Even if you run out of initial reasons for war, you've now made yourself a new and endless enemy to be at war with. Muslims in general. Remember, only minority. Remember, that could be any of them. Subtly suggests that Muslimness itself is criminal. Make wearing hijab, praying, being bearded, or of darker complexion reasons for suspicion. Tell schools, universities, and hospitals to look out for these signs. Make them punishable offences worthy of stop and search, detention, even citizenship deprivation. You can now round up, arrest, or even exile dissenters without reasonable justification. You have an enemy for war and a reason to clamp down on protest. Step 10. Torture or entrap the people you detain until they give false evidence to admit some terror-related crimes at least. You do need to keep the image going after all, especially because people might start asking questions when refugees begin flooding your borders. The long-term consequences of step 1 and 3, sorry, forgot to mention at the start. At this point, we advise you simply repeat step 6 to 10 as many times as you need, adjusting to the context appropriately. You terrorize the world with your war on terror after all, so violence is likely to continue, even as you assert your desire to stop it by engaging in it. Hopefully, no one will question this logic. Okay, what is what we'll do next? Yeah, okay, I think I will do, I don't know. Okay, yeah, I think it's, no. I don't know, it's fun. I never get, I rarely get to perform in a pub, so, you know, just novelty. Lovely space, it's quite kooky, aren't they? Showing my phone. So, while we're here, I tweeted the other day, and I think this tweet was absolutely stepped on, so I'm going to tell you guys to tweet. So, basically, because you reminded me when you said about not writing poems about your dad, and I haven't written any poems about my dad ever. And you know how Boris Johnson got his dad to go to the Channel 4 thing? So I tweeted, I think it's really funny, I was like, talk about unrelatable, imagine getting your dad to do something for you. That's really funny. If you want to follow my work, it's at the Brown Johnny. I don't know what the poem is, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm really stuck in content. Page 77, what a classic. Okay, here we go. Okay, this was really randomly, I got commissioned to write a poem by the International Theatre Architects Conference. Yeah, so I did. Act 1, Scene 1. Small brown girl stands in a red jaw full of white teeth, tear upon tear. She appears uncomfortable, alone, dressed her best but not good enough. Small brown girl sits facing the stage direction, laughs when others laugh, makes sure not to whisper too loud, slips secret Maltesers out of her bag, slips secret Maltesers into her mouth, makes sure not to rustle too loud. Pretends she's not affronted by the price of ice cream, pretends this is not a birthday gift but an everyday expense. Pretends. Small brown girl sinks into the dimming lights, her act is almost over now. Because going to the theatre is the performance they don't review. There is no play so scrutinised as us, no costume designers so determined to get it right. Look the part, say, we belong here too. If a theatre is not a nation, why does the threshold feel like a border? Why are there border police? Why does going in make you feel like you could be kicked out? Act 1, Scene 2. Small brown girl's mother ranked theatre up with private schools and piano lessons. Childhoods that could trick them into treating you better, could curtain call you into respectability. So small brown girl attended ballet classes but never made the cut. Small brown girl looked at listings where roles for small brown girls never showed up. Small brown girl spent weeks learning the steps to hairspray for the school production, but it was in the title, hair spray, they just said it wouldn't add up. Act 2, Scene 1. Big white man asks small brown girl, are you in the right place? Are you lost? The cinema is 2 streets away. Big white man does not say aloud, but asks small brown girl, anyway, how could you afford this? How could you be this? You are an imposter. Act 2, Scene 2. White woman asks small brown girl, advise me on a play I'm writing. It's about a Muslim girl facing an identity crisis. What do you think? Small brown girl thinks white woman should write about something she knows about. Small brown girl thinks white woman's Muslim girl makes no sense. How is she on the stage when she can barely sit in the audience yet? But then again, theatres are full of applause that doesn't add up, stories that say they are for one person but packaged for another. They would rather standing ovation a version of me written by someone else than share my unrest. Act 2, Scene 3, final scene. Small brown girl gets asked will she perform a play for them. So she writes angry, clever, funny, draws them in, then spits them out. But afterwards, she thanks them for the opportunity, a justification for being here, a receipt to prove she's not lost. Small brown girl thinks it's funny to say thank you when she still performs to a red jewel full of white teeth. She asks her friends to come watch her. Friends say, I don't really care about theatre. Small brown girl wonders if that's the same as how her friend works full-time, how her other friend has a 2-year-old child and cleans part-time, how her other friend lives too far out of town, how her grandma has bad knees, how her sister hates feeling like she's under a microscope and doesn't feel comfortable in spaces bigger than the living room. Small brown girl doesn't really care about theatre either. People tell small brown girl, you must write stories on the stage. The small brown girl wants to ask, for who? Her friends are all at home. Small brown girl stands in a red jewel full of white teeth, dressed her best but not good enough. Pretends she's not affronted by the price of ice cream, pretends this is not a birthday gift, pretends those are not border guards, pretends, plays pretend, pretending this could ever be for her. Alright, cool. I'm going to end on a poem. Don't know why I thought that was a normal thing to say, I'm going to end on a poem. My name is Suhaiymah Manzoor-Khan. You can follow my work online, Brown Punjabi. I do a lot of speaking that is not from my collection about these same topics. And I write about them too, so if you love this stuff, then get involved. I was going to say something else. Yeah, my collection, post-colonial about it. You can get it online as well. I think there's like 1 copy at the back. That wasn't like me trying to be like, I've sold out, I bought 1 copy, so this poem is called British Values. Young Muslims in Britain often straddle 2 worlds. They appear to have a foot in each culture concerns revealed around the national identification of Muslims. And the review raises alarm over social integration and youth schools to promote fundamental British values. The face of Britain is changing beyond recognition. I look in the mirror. It's not shattered, I am whole. No 1 foot in, 1 foot out. No reason I've got to learn Britishness from the somehow more devout. I'm not uneasy, torn, or straddling. It's not shattered, I am whole. Yeah, the opposite is somehow all that you'll get told. I mean, I guess because if it wasn't, if we faced up to the glass, you'd be left with the fact that I am inside. I am Britain now, because Britain is Bismillah. Britain is basmati rice. Britain is box braids and black barbers shops, Bollywood and bungalow. Britain is Bradford and Barking and Birmingham. Britain is biryani and black kings. Britain is black. Britain is brown. Britain is boys blasting dubstep on the bus to town. Britain is body popping outside the tube. Britain is bricklaying before it was cool. Britain is bilingual. Britain is the broker. Britain is praying in the changing rooms. Britain has its feet in your sink. Britain is bad at knowing itself, belligerent and boring. Britain has not changed beyond recognition. Recognize it was never one thing. I am the inside you pretend is outside, but we have to stop pretending. pretending the rolling hills are just romantic, not remnants of injustices swept under a rug. Like the tea didn't come from Asia, like its sugar wasn't grown by slaves, like dry humour isn't a way to just ridicule dissent, and cues don't expose the way we're always told to wait for change rather than making it. And it's funny that over-apologising is seen as a national trait, because half of history is still waiting. I look in the mirror. It's not shattered, I am whole, there is no brink or turning point. I'm here. Britain is barbaric. Oh, sorry, did you think that was me? Barbaric bystanders straddling the boundary. Not quite inside, so you could say I'm the things you forgot, like you're modern, so I'm backwards, you're democratic, so you say I'm not. But the truth is, Britain is blood on its hands and back to the wall. Britain is selling weapons to the most repressive regimes in the world. Britain is the bombs the Saudis drop on Yemen. Britain is building surveillance apparatus since 9/11. Britain is believing in human rights whilst removing them all. Britain is Yarl's Wood, Brook House, Holbrook, and Morton Hall. Britain is 1,600 dead in or after police custody since 1990. And Britain has no qualms about detaining asylum seekers indefinitely. Britain is suicide attempts, secret courts, and secret torture. Britain is stopping you at the border. Britain is seeing it, saying it, sorting it, which means Britain is also deporting it. Because what else do you do when you look in the mirror and find the sugar and tea had strings attached? The factories on the rolling hills depended on our labour. The bombs destroyed the homes of kids now at the border. Britain is barbaric. Britain is blindly patriotic. Britain is built on false narratives, slices of other people's dishes. Britain is stolen artefacts in museums named after itself. Britain is knife and fork polite, stabbing you at will. Britain is selective. Yours till it's not. In yours till it's not. They're blaming you. Britain is borders, Britain is Brexit, Britain is spending on weddings but not fireproofing homes. Britain is cutting mental health services yet somehow strong and stable. Britain is 50% of young people in custody being from ethnic minority backgrounds, and Britain is blaming them for this statistic rather than asking difficult questions. Because Britain is blaming the kids who aren't white. Britain is blaming the immigrants. Britain is blaming the Muslims. Britain is blaming bureaucracy. Britain is not listening. Britain is not that great. Britain is breaking. You're breaking everywhere except the place it puts the blame. Because there's only a few things left that are great about Britain. And they're that Britain is Bismillah, basmati and bilingual, box braids and black barbers shops, Bollywood and Bangura, body popping outside the tube, brick lane before it was cool. Britain is bilingual. Britain is the burqa. Britain is praying in the changing rooms. Britain has its feet in your sink. Britain is your greatest nightmare, every repercussion you never go through. Britain is the terror to be counted. Britain is the mind to be got inside. I am the great and great Britain now, and aren't you terrified?